Times, with British monarchy, it's best left unsaid, isn't it? And when you think of the case of Prince Charles this week, you think he may have zipped it. Because, Prince Charles does tend to put his foot in it with all the wrong things, possibly from all the wrong times. Now, as we know, Charles himself recently was in the media because it's alleged that he took carrier bags full of cash in Fortnum Mason's carrier bags, so no cheap carrier bags from Lidl or discount stores, I might point out, that were delivered to his home. Now, as we've also pointed out, this is unalleged. There's no actual proof on this at all, but what we do know is that the accounts show that all the money was transferred to the relevant areas. So, however it was delivered, as he's pointed out, it was wrong, but there was nothing wrongdoing in that. But of course the media failed to put that piece in the story, don't they? It's just, there's Charles with, of course, bags of cash being delivered. Also this week it was estimated just how many millions the Duchy of Cornwall, which is of course the trust that Prince Charles has independently, has made in profit. And then in the same breath it sort of leaked out that it costs now over 100 million to keep our monarchy running. But as we also pointed out, and as ever we have to point this out, that does include all the renovations to Buckingham Palace and various other things. But one of the funniest things I found was the fact that they cited it cost $32,000 to fly Prince Charles to the Royal Albert Hall, which is just down the road from where they live, for the Bond premiere. Again, not true, but a good story. But this particular story really has angered a lot of people, and a bit of backlash is now looming, so let me explain. Prince Charles, on a visit recently to Rwanda, of course, got very vocal and very political, as he often does, and says that really the slave trade story should all be taught in all of our schools around the world. And he does have a point, obviously, as we often say. But over here in England, with the woke crowd, of course, it doesn't necessarily get reflective in the curriculum, does it? We've had recent ideas where they want to ban Shakespeare, they don't want to have William Wordsworth poems, all sorts of ridiculous stuff. History is history and it should be taught. However, there's a big backlash now building up over that statement, and it's this. In order to be fair and balanced, what they are saying is, well, if that's going to be the case, then the Arab slave trade should also be taught to all schools, alongside the Turkish one too, the Ottoman. And this is the problem when you are a monarch in waiting, because you put these political statements out there, but they don't necessarily all work out for the good. Now, of course, he would have said that in a statement with, of course, a speech that would have been cleared by our gracious Majesty the Queen. Obviously, I don't know if you know this, but everything he says has to go through her. So consequently, it puts her in a very difficult position. And of course now, it's right at the moment, this is the mood of the nation. People do want to know about the slave trade, the history, but I often say you can't rewrite history. You can only retell the story exactly how it happened. But if Prince Charles continues down this line, once again he could find himself in very hot water, because if you're going to mention one, as we found out so many times here, you have to mention them all. And if you mention them all, you'll simply still be on the lectern for hours and hours. And even the most ardent fan of Prince Charles wouldn't want that. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.